In 1999, East Timor voted for freedom. What followed was not chaos. It was punishment. When people think of East Timor, they often think the violence ended with the vote. It didn't. As militias and soldiers moved through towns and villages, ordinary people were hunted, threatened, and forced to flee. What we know today comes from survivor testimonies, documented by human rights organizations while the world looked away. These are some of their voices. Madalena was still in school when armed men began coming to her family's house. They returned again and again, throwing stones onto the roof, issuing threats, making it clear they were being watched. On the day the referendum result was announced, the streets were empty. Militia checkpoints appeared. Gunfire echoed through the city. She fled with her family to a school compound, believing it would be safe. Instead, it became a place of terror, surrounded, attacked, filled with screaming children and desperate families. Years later, she still lives with the psychological scars. I feel very fragile with trauma. Samuel was a university student and activist. After the vote, militias and soldiers began targeting students and community leaders. Armed groups attacked dormitories and safe spaces, firing shots to spread panic. People were chased, beaten, and forced into hiding. Samuel describes the constant fear, never knowing when armed men would return, never feeling safe in public or private spaces. I feel like a hunted animal. Even those working with the United Nations were not spared. A local UN election worker recalls how militias and soldiers blocked roads, burned homes, and cut entire towns off from escape. Violence spread so quickly that evacuation became nearly impossible. People were trapped, unsure whether help would come at all. The militias and the army were going crazy, burning everything. Raphael witnessed people being dragged from houses and churches. Some were beaten. Others were loaded into trucks and taken away. He saw killings. He saw bodies mutilated. And he ran. For months, he lived in fear, moving constantly, hiding, trying to survive. I was constantly on the move and in hiding. Vicente was only 3 years old. His family was attacked without warning. Gunfire erupted. His mother was killed. His father was badly wounded. Years later, his family says the child still struggles to sleep, still carries fear far beyond his age. My son has been very sad since the disappearance of his mother. These testimonies are not history books. They are memories carried by people who survived when many did not. East Timor's independence came at a terrible human cost, paid by civilians whose only crime was voting for freedom. Genocide does not always announce itself. Sometimes, it hides behind uniforms, silence, and international indifference. The voices of East Timor remind us of what happens when the world decides not to listen. How should the international community respond when state-backed violence targets civilians? Share your thoughts in the comments. This video is based on survivor testimonies documented by Amnesty International. Subscribe to Unheard History as we continue uncovering the stories history tried to erase.